You're listening to Four Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast.
Today is Tuesday, August 11th. I'm Johnny Kahner. Thank you for watching and listening to Four Things to Know today. And it's a big day. Let's get to our top story. The primaries are underway for several major elections in Wisconsin and Minnesota. Polls opened this morning at 7 and will stay open until 8 o'clock tonight. And it is important to note, if you are in line by 8 p.m., you can vote even if you do not reach the front of the line until after 8. If you still have an absentee ballot, it is too late to mail, but you can hand drop it off to the office that sent it to you by 5 o'clock tonight. You can also vote in person at your local polling place as long as you did not return that absentee ballot. You can ask your election judge if you decide to go in person. Now, the races getting the most attention here in Minnesota are for governor and to take over the Senate seat of Senator Tina Smith. For the Senate Democrats vying for that Senate seat, Representative Angie Craig and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, those are the top candidates. Craig is the more moderate option, touting her ability to work across the political aisle. Meanwhile, Flanagan is a progressive champion, securing support from big names like Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Over on the Republican side for the U.S. Senate, surveys have shown broadcaster Michelle Tafoya with a significant lead over two opponents in Adam Schwarze, who actually got the party's endorsement, and Royce White. And as for the governor's race, analysts are watching a possible surprise with the Republican nomination. Party-endorsed Kendall Qualls is polling in third place. Recent polls show House Speaker Lisa Demuth is closing the gap with frontrunner Mike Lindell. Now, Lindell has the endorsement of President Trump. Over on the DFL side, Amy Klobuchar is leaving her seat in the U.S. Senate to run for governor. She is all but guaranteed the party's nomination. Now, this could actually be a potential record-setting primary. Turnout is expected to be high. The absentee and mail ballot numbers have already topped the highest non-presidential primary year, with more than 200,000 people already voting as of this recording. That could actually mean a turnout that exceeds 22%, which would also be a record. Now, you can learn more about voter resources and details about key races in the WCCO 2026 primary election guide that's on our website. Let's get to our second thing to know. You can also expect to see several federal observers at some polling locations today. WCCO's Derek James was outside a polling place in the Cedar Riverside neighborhood of Minneapolis to get a sense of what voters are seeing. Here's his report from noon, and in this report, you'll also hear from Minnesota's Secretary of State, Steve Simon.
We were just talking to some of the city election workers here, and they say everything has been running very smoothly here at the Coyle Community Center. Talking to voters and also some of the supporters of the various campaigns that have been here throughout the day, they say between 7 and 8 o'clock this morning, they noticed 4 federal observers that walked onto the area. They stayed outside the 100-foot zone that is set up here. They did show ID, but were in plain clothes and talked to some of the voters here. Now, we know that the DOJ says it has 20 different observers on the ground here in Minnesota as it monitors polling sites in 2 Minnesota counties, Hennepin and Ramsey. Both counties said they didn't want the federal observers inside the polling places, so that's why they are out here.
So they'll be standing outside the 100-foot zone, and we, working with the Attorney General's office, plan to have people watching the watchers just in case. I think that's a reasonable thing to do given the record of the last several months and the very real concerns and even anxieties that people have about the Justice Department in particular.
Now, Simon says this is not new. There have been election observers here in Minnesota before, including under the Biden administration. It is important to note that they do have to stay outside that 100-foot zone, as they have so far from what we've heard. But if they do come up and to approach you after you vote today, you don't have to answer any of their questions.
Number 3 today brings us across the border. For the first time in 16 years, the Wisconsin governor's office is open. Democratic Governor Tony Evers announced he would not go for a third term, and the race to replace him has grown contentious. And there's actually been national attention on this race for governor as well. Here's WCCO's Adam Duxter's report from Hudson.
We don't know who exactly is going to win that race yet. The one thing we can possibly predict is that it's going to be a close race, especially if 2022 and 2018 taught us anything, because in those years, the governor's seat was decided by less than 100,000 votes both times. In fact, in 2022, Tony Evers won by just about 30,000 votes, so it is clear that every vote counts. And here in St. Croix County, there is a feeling that it could really determine which way things go, depending on which way this county goes. Now, the one thing we do know, though, is that this has been a relatively interesting race leading up to it at this point, especially on the Democratic side, where it's been a bit chaotic at times. We've seen 3 candidates drop out over the course of the last few months, and now one, Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley, has re-entered with the support of current Governor Tony Evers. The front runner, though, by a large margin, according to polling leading up to this primary, is Democratic Socialist and current state representative Francesca Hong. A Marquette Law School poll showed 38% of voters favored her, with another 34% still undecided. Whoever wins that nomination will likely compete against Republican Tom Tiffany, a U.S. lawmaker who has the support of President Trump. Here's what we heard from voters this morning.
I don't know how it's going to go this time, but I know Tom Tiffany is not the guy for our state. I think any of the Democratic candidates can win. I think David Crowley has the better chance, and it won't be as ugly if David Crowley's in.
Hopefully you're picking somebody that's going to do some sensible things. I mean, they're just off the wall, some of their thoughts and things they're doing. You're thinking, oh, wait a minute, it just doesn't make any common sense, you know. So yeah, she is would not be on my list.
At stake for Democrats in this election is the potential for a statewide trifecta, of course, having control of the Senate, the House, and that open governor's seat, which would be a significant deal were that to be able to happen.
And if you're looking for more primary coverage this evening, WCCO will bring it to you live on our news tonight. We have reporters across the state, photographers all over the place, so be sure to tune in. Now let's get to your fourth thing to know today, and it's probably not a story you were expecting to hear today. We're talking football, Vikings football, and we now know who the starting quarterback will be. The team announced today that Kyler Murray has won the job over JJ McCarthy. Murray's first test will be the Green Bay Packers Week 1. Won't that be fun? And we also, of course, had to get our own Mike Max's reaction to the quarterback news as well.
The reason the Vikings named Kyler Murray now as the starting quarterback is simple. They want him to know that he's the man going into the season, and they've thought this for quite some time, that he would be the man. It doesn't mean that JJ McCarthy might not eventually end up the starting quarterback, but they want Murray to have the command. It also changes how many reps he'll take in practice, and it allows the players around him to start working specifically with him. Does this mean that they expect him to be the quarterback all 17 games? That's the hope. But that's just a hope. It doesn't mean that JJ McCarthy or Carson Wentz couldn't surface as a starting quarterback. Murray has just been just good enough this training camp to earn the starting spot.
Let the countdown to the regular season begin. Those are the 4 things to know today. Let's get a check-in now on our next weather forecast.
Hi, I'm next weather meteorologist Lisa Meadows. Here's your forecast tonight. It's pretty mild, down to 70. Your overnight low, increasing clouds tomorrow. High temp looking to top out at 86.
And now, here's more to know.
A Minnesota mother may do jail time after her 15-year-old daughter killed someone during her very first time behind the wheel. It happened in Rockford back in May. Investigators say a 15-year-old girl was driving a van when she left the road, hit 2 women walking on the sidewalk, and crashed into a house. One of those women did not survive. The other was seriously hurt. And now court documents reveal the young driver may have hit the gas instead of the brakes while trying to make a turn. Charges say that her mother, who was in the passenger seat, told investigators her daughter had just turned 15 the day before. This was her first time driving, and she did not have a permit. The mother is scheduled in court next month. We're following a story in South Minneapolis where first responders took a man to the hospital after a police squad car hit him at George Floyd Square. But officers say there was no one behind the wheel. Here's what happened. A Minnetonka officer was working in Minneapolis yesterday morning and chased down a burglary suspect. And during that arrest, his empty squad car somehow hit the suspect. Now, the man is expected to recover, and the BCA is now investigating. Roseville police are warning of a growing issue for the area, residential burglaries. The police department posted on social media a warning to residents saying there's been an uptick in burglaries. And according to the post, several of these cases involved unlocked doors, open garages, and unlocked cars. Police are urging residents of Roseville and surrounding metro areas to be aware and double-check their doors are locked. 2 Minnesota communities are cutting ties with a controversial camera system, at least for now. The city of West St. Paul and the Isanti County Sheriff's Office say their flock cameras are coming down. They were in a trial to see whether the cameras and their license plate reading technology would be a good crime-fighting tool. Both found the cameras did help law enforcement, but the West St. Paul city manager says the distrust from the community is just not worth it. The Isanti County Sheriff says it's not a necessary investment based on their budget. A man was arrested and charged in the case of a stolen Honor Flight trailer. Honor Flight is an organization that helps veterans visit Washington, D.C. memorials. Moorhead police say they identified a suspect, and after his arrest, the trailer had been found. It had merchandise inside valued at around $30,000. And while the trailer was recovered, court documents say the suspect says he burned the merchandise. He's expected in court on August 18th. We'll, of course, keep you updated on that case. Let's get to sports. The Twins got a big win last night over Baltimore. Right now, the Twins are 2 games under 500. They're a game and a half out of the playoff race. They host the Orioles again tonight at Target Field. To hoops, Paige Beckers grew up playing at a small basketball court in St. Louis Park. And on Monday, the WNBA star made a surprise appearance as they unveiled the renovation. It's Blackstone Park, and Beckers shocked the kids that were gathered there for the official opening. Now, Beckers' Dallas Wings, they lost to the Lynx on Sunday. She actually decided to stay in her home state for one extra day.
I love everything about being here, about being home. Minnesota has meant so much to me, this community specifically. So to kind of reset, get a little refresh, just to stay balanced, stay humble, and stay grounded in life is really important.
And sticking with basketball, Timberwolves fans, listen up, just announced today an early Christmas gift. The team is playing at home on Christmas Day. That's pretty cool. The team announced the game on social media this morning. They'll be playing the Oklahoma City Thunder at 7 p.m., and Christmas falls on a Friday this year. Now, full schedules have not dropped yet, but we also know the Wolves will open the season on the road against Miami. This is kind of when you know the Wolves, as a franchise, have really turned a corner. Hosting a Christmas game, that would have been unheard of about 5 years ago for the Minnesota Timberwolves. So that will be electric at Target Center.
It's time to take a breath with your Daily Bright Spot.
A group of local high schoolers are ready to rock with a legendary band.
I wanna feel what love is.
The choir at Eastview High School in Apple Valley won a WDGY radio contest, and now these students get to sing on stage with Foreigner. And this wasn't just a random draw. They actually submitted a recorded audition to make the cut.
I look forward to the moment where 10, 20, 30 years down the road, they're going to be driving in the car, maybe with a family, and a Foreigner song is going to come on, and they're going to have this story.
That was the Eastview choir director, Greg Douma, and the students will join, of course, Foreigner at the Mystic Lake Amphitheater in Shakopee on Sunday night. The band is also making a $500 donation to the choir program. That will be quite the experience for the high schoolers. Well, I'm Johnny Kahner. This has been 4 Things to Know. We, of course, are here with the news you need every weekday afternoon by 3 o'clock. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. We will have the full primary results for you on the show. Thanks for watching us today and listening wherever you get the show.
Listen to 4 Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Maria Lizignoli, and this podcast comes to you from the WCCO Podcast Studio.
I'm Johnny Kahner, and this is where you'll find the latest news of the day with us on 4 Things to Know.
I'm Mariel Mose, and I bring you the stories behind the female athletes redefining the game on women in sports.
I'm Adam Duxter. Join me for a deep dive into faith and what it means to Minnesotans around the state on Bigger Than Belief.
Stay in the know on the go with the WCCO Podcast Studio. Go to WCCO.com/podcasts.